very intelligent. He's very loud. You can hear him today making calls and everything. So
That boy gets nasty. Day two of mandatory mini camps for a few different teams, and that includes the Buccaneers. So we have to talk about two former Buffaloes that were both supposed to be Buccaneers. I know one didn't make it, and that would of course be Will Sheppard and Shiloh Sanders. Now Shiloh Sanders' story has been great to follow. We've been following it very closely. We do have some more film coming out of camp from him, and we do have to say that he does look smooth. He looks clean. He looks good. The last set of OTAs, he was doing some some more special teams things, and a major update for Will Sheppard, who again was supposed to sign with the Bucs, failed the physical, and now is getting an opportunity in Colorado. So we're going to go deeper into that. I really appreciate y'all watching these videos and supporting. We're going to be uploading multiple videos every single day. So if you enjoy football content, go ahead and subscribe. Like the video if you like it. Dislike if you don't like it. Hit that bell icon to not miss anything. And like you probably saw while I was yapping, and I've probably been playing it for a little bit, here's Shiloh Sanders. And I do want to point out, because we've spent some time, talking about Shiloh Sanders, what he's been doing, because it really does seem like it comes down to the intangible things that he does to make this team. But we've been focusing so much on whether it's the snacks or him just, really trying his hardest to be vocal. Obviously, Todd Bowles has already had positive things to say about him. When you take all that into stride, and also the fact that he looks sharper, like he looks good when it comes to his feet work. So I think when you add all that together, we have to realize it's still probably a long shot for him to make the team, but he's doing every single thing to make the team. But some of my Buccaneers fans, and if we have time at the end of this video, I'm gonna read my last video on Shiloh Sanders, because some of my Buccaneers fans that watch me say, actually, Shiloh Sanders can make the team. So hey, I'm gonna let y'all educate us. But that's him. Again, I gotta be honest with you, not many videos for Shiloh Sanders, but we are gonna listen to Todd Bowles just speak about the defense in general, as they had a good day overall with a few picks.
they're getting their hands on some balls, which is a good thing. We got a lot of ways to go. And they gave up some plays as well, but they're getting their hands on balls in the front line.
Oh, whoa, I was sorry, I couldn't even hear it one more time.
On some balls, which is a good thing. We got a lot of ways to go. And they gave up some plays as well, but they're getting their hands on balls in the front line.
There we go. Sorry, I thought the end of the question was the beginning of the question, but there you go. He says he's never happy. It's hard to be disappointed with a few picks, but clearly in a different situation there. And then we've got more just general Buccaneers, what's it called, mini camp footage that we're gonna hop into. But before we do that, I know y'all are also here for Mr. Will Howard. Now, before we get any deeper into the great positive updates for Mr. Will Howard, I want to speak about how we got here, right? So obviously, Will Howard, Will Sheppard, big body wide receiver, 6'3", 6'4" if he stands on his tippy toes in a good day, but 6'3" wide receiver. Coming into the end of the season and coming into the draft, I was saying like, hey, yo, this is somebody who I think lends himself well the best to an NFL, right? He's got an NFL body, seemingly NFL skill set. Obviously he was able to be successful in the SEC, right? These are things that build upon a rap sheet, a resume that would lend credence to being able to find some sort of success in the NFL. Now, one of the big glaring things that Will Sheppard did struggle with, and probably why he went undrafted, was his hands. They were a bit inconsistent. There were big time drops. There were, there were times where he was called upon and he couldn't do it. Now, there's other times, which we're going to get a little bit into the bag work, because you got to give Will Sheppard his credit, because that boy gets nasty, right? To say all that, and then you finally get an opportunity, undrafted free agent after the draft, you know what I mean? And then you fail a physical. We have yet to figure out what that physical is, but I'm happy to see that it's clearly nothing, clearly it was something that could have got cleared up, right? And could got things in the order. I don't know what that was. I was hoping when we made the last update about Will Sheppard, that it was going to be nothing that would be like, because he didn't have any major injury that we had known of, right? I didn't want it to be a thing where, oh, is this like, a heart, an organ, something internally where it is. I was hoping it was just, a Lamar Jackson situation. You know what I'm saying? Homie was on a ski or whatever, on a jet ski, and tweak something and maybe he couldn't do it. I'm really hoping that's what it is, but we still don't have any other details. You go from failing that, and that's an awful awful place to be at, right? Completely failing at physical, but still being signed. Now, for today, Will Sheppard attends the Denver Broncos minicamp. So he is trying out for the minicamp. So he is not officially on the Broncos yet. Just trying out, just being there. Undrafted free agent is already a long shot to get in the league. Being a tryout for minicamp, you know what I'm saying? Like you're even more outside. So I think it's interesting to think about that, dog. I think it's really interesting to think about. Now he's going to have even a more higher uphill battle to climb. But I think he's going to be able to do it. I think he has the skills to do it. And I think it's great that, in Colorado, he gets a chance to do it, right? Obviously, it's not exactly with his Buffaloes, but he does get a chance not too far, essentially from, where he's been setting things up. So let's talk about Will Sheppard. I hope I didn't call him Will Howard again. I feel like I have been calling him Will Howard. But let's talk about Will Sheppard, the player that he is, 4'5", 40, right? Again, big body guy. You would want to see him go pretty quick, but Tet McMillan, or T-Mac, as he wants to be said, he ran a similar time. I believe it was in the 4.5 range there, little high in the 4.5s, but still. This is what he does best, right? This is where he's going to earn his money, and this is what I say, hey, NFL level, because this right here, okay, the flag's out, the laundry's out. This is his bread and his butter. I'm going to show you in season because I got some film too, right? It's not just about being 6'3", or some people say 6'2". It's not just about being 6'2", not just about being 6'3", right? And I get it. We can talk about inconsistent hands, but when this flashes, and maybe I'm just an old school type of evaluator, right? I'm a fan of Shiloh Sanders because I thought he was the best floor of the quarterbacks. I thought he processed well, and I think that's showing off well. And what Will Sheppard does best is goes up and gets it, right? The strength too. Watch how, I mean, he did draw back, but he's doing a lot of pushing and you know what I'm saying? Look at the weight that he's about to put on his shoulders. Look what Will Sheppard does. He moves, but he just goes to the ball. Like he's trying to put all his weight, and this is a top tier cornerback out of Oregon. I don't think he was any first round, second rounder, but he was looked at as, hey, this is an NFL player. He goes up against him, obviously, knocks him off his pivot, but does he really? Like, look at the strength to go straight through him, right? Go up and get it, and then land where he needs to land. Son, that's a completion. I'm not sure if that's an NFL completion, but the laundry's out, so you did what you need to do. If I could see that extra toe, I would let you know. Rhyming accidentally. But let's talk about what that looks like in real life. Wow. That's the loudest thing ever. On the football field, he goes up and just, contested. It just doesn't matter, dog. It just doesn't matter. I remember this touchdown. This wasn't even this wasn't even the Utah one. I think I have the Utah one too. The Utah one might have been crazier, to be honest with you. God, but this is the Texas Tech one and there was a few weeks, it was the Texas Tech to Cincinnati, and I think, or maybe Texas Tech to Utah games where Will Sheppard would, hey, I'm gonna just throw this fade up to you, dog. Shedeur looked at Willie Sheppard and said, hey, yo, just go up and get it, huh? How about go rip it out the sky? And that's something that he did. And again, another angle here. I mean, that's a one-handy jammy, son. That's a one-handy jammy. And of course, at the pro day, looking smooth and cool and critical and slow motion. Shiloh Sanders has been looking pretty good. His spirals have been looking good in slow motion. They even look good. But let's watch Will Sheppard look this in. Boom. Little body catchy. Little body catchy, right? We don't want to see that. We don't want to see you catch with your body. We would love for you to make sure that you get that all hands. But you do what you do. The ball tracking is still there. The ability is still great. So I think that's great to see from old Will Sheppard. And just to end it off, this is what Coach Phillip has to say about Travis Hunter and Will Sheppard. This is back in August 13th, 2024, leading up to the season last year.
Camp so far, and what are you seeing from your personnel group?
I mean, those guys are doing great. I mean, they're coming along well. I think the biggest thing we wanted to form was chemistry. And I think we've been able to do that. I mean, a lot of guys were added since the spring, so we had a couple of additions come in since the spring, and the main thing with me was chemistry. And those guys are starting to do that. They understand, just like you guys had a conversation in the South. You know, it's a unit. No one man can do it by himself. So we all got to work together. We got to make sure that we don't affect the integrity of the route by not doing our job individually and do it collectively. So they've been doing a good job of that.
One of the guys that didn't get here until fall, Will Sheppard, was a very productive player in the SEC. What have you seen from him as he's adjusted to his first few weeks in Boulder?
I've seen everything that we anticipated seeing when we brought him in here. He has a level of physicality coming from the SEC that we desperately need in that room. And obviously his experience is the biggest thing. You know, guy played a lot of football, so he has something to add to the room as far as knowledge and experience. So he's been doing that role. He's got very strong hands. So we're just excited about him being here and just put him in the mix with all the other guys that we have and just letting his talent speak for itself.
That's great. Like Will Sheppard's ability to catch great balls and big balls and difficult balls, is really what I think shines through and what I think separates him being an NFL talent. So let's not dilly or dally any much longer. Let's just check out a few more for my Buccaneers fans. And a little bit of these minicamp. Now, interesting enough, I know obviously the talk of the town has been Shiloh Sanders in the world of minicamp, but even with my Texans and, you know, even Travis Hunter, I feel like there's been a lot more film than the Bucs. Like the Bucs are a little skimpy on the film, maybe because they just don't have a high level first round draft pick. Did they get Ibuka in the first round? I could be wrong. I feel like I'm missing somebody. But Baker Mayfield and Kyle Trask. By the way, people in Florida love Kyle Trask. So you know what I'm saying, that they put some respect on Big Trasky's name. I can't play the song, but they're out there, you know, running at in that hot Tampa Bay sun. I'm sure Mr. Watson's in here somewhere, not Deshaun, the big 410-pound gentleman. Here's from day 1 to a big talking point for some of the Buccaneers fans. If you're worried, it was Hassan Riddick. Obviously, he signed a 1-year deal. He had some issues showing up to the Jets as well. Am I correct? Or for their training camp? So he's done this before. They were worried because he didn't show up to the OTAs, but he is there when it's mandatory. Tez Johnson getting some work as a return man. Now, Tez Johnson is a bit of a, I don't know, I wouldn't say controversial. Is controversial too strong? Definitely controversial as his build, right? He was a smaller guy, but very productive at Oregon. So, you know, that's one of those guys where, one of those times where you're going to see in the NFL, you're going to realize that oftentimes, you know, being a winner, being productive, doing those things and having those reps sometimes matters more than just a build, right? And those conversations that are being had. Tez Johnson was impossible to cover in college, elite quickness, but it didn't show up in the 40. Teams couldn't rationalize picking him early with a 4.51 at just 154 pounds. But plug in the tape. It's elite, and it's interesting one to watch. And Todd Bowles, you know, as of today, already says Tez Johnson is more than just a punt returner. Cites Johnson has a chance to be a vital part of the offense in 2025. So this guy who is, you know, looked at under, you know, a bit undersized coming into this draft, he's not looked at as a non-toolsy quarter or wide receiver because he's intelligent with his route running. He's quite productive. And he just creates separation, and he knows what he's doing, how he does it. The size will scare you at the NFL, but I'm hoping that he gains some weight and does some things because he can have an interesting path to the NFL. Last thing as well, just want to kind of reiterate, it's dope seeing people like Bleacher Report comment on these things, right? We already talked about in the last video, Shiloh Sanders gifting the boys the Apple Watch. You know what I'm saying? There's Tywick Thomas, he doing his big thing, and they all the guys of Colorado. So not just doing big stuff when it comes to what he does for the Buccaneers and trying, but again, he's still showing back. He could just focus all his time and like, hey, I'm trying to be a Buccaneer, but clearly he has enough time to give back to his alma mater. So that's a great time as well. So shout out to Bleacher Report for commenting on that. Shout out to you for watching this video. I hope you liked it. If you did like it, like it. If you didn't like it, go ahead and dislike it. Subscribe if you enjoy football content of all shapes, sizes, forms, and factors. Comment down below if you have something in particular you want me to yap about, because I will yap about it. I promise you. You don't dare me to yap about something. I'll do it. Continue to be great. Continue to be awesome. Appreciate you for doing all you do. Thank you again for 25K. I'm going to keep thanking you until we get to 50K. Be amazing. Be great. We'll see you next time. Peace.